Doug Karsch, Scott Anderson, 97.1, 248-539-9797. All right, so Dave Burkett, regarding the Lions, and the Lions, they have a to-do list, right? It feels like high up on the to-do list is the center position. Dave Burkett, beat writer that covers the Detroit Lions. Lions could look at the draft or free agent for their next center, but you've got everybody that wants a center is going to want Linderbaum. So I think Connor McGovern might cost more than people want or comfortable with, but that's the center in Buffalo.
Right.
I feel like the most probable thing they are going to do is they are going to make a move that later is referred to as was a smart, underrated signing.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think they're getting in. I look, if I were a betting man, my plan would be to go after Linderbaum. Okay, that would be my plan. I also look at the teams in the league that need a center and might be interested, and it feels like it's a lot.
Yeah, it seems like there's a ton of interest. Daniel Jeremiah was quoted as saying that, look, almost every team in the league every team needs a center is looking at Linderbaum. The market is robust for him. So even if the Lions were to say, okay, we're gonna budget $20 million for Linderbaum, I mean, I have the feeling he's going to sign for more than that because all these teams want him. So do they go the route of going with one of the lesser centers? I think it's Posich from Cleveland. Maybe just wants to get the hell out of Cleveland. I wouldn't blame him. That he could be an upgrade. Or this is still one, apparently it's the door is not closed on Tate Ratledge possibly moving over to center. No. So if that, I guess I'm not going to be surprised if that happens. And then going into free agency, we're still not sure what Taylor Decker's decision is. But we know that offensive line is in flux here. And what we don't know is that the Lions really consider Tate Ratledge to be an option there. Dan Campbell didn't shut the door on that at the end of the year. If they do consider Ratledge to be the center of the future, then okay, then you start looking at offensive guard, and there's some good guards that are going to go in the first couple rounds. Daniel Jeremiah didn't seem to think that there were centers worth taking in the first couple rounds, maybe one late in the second round, but the guys that he likes are different than the guys that Mel Kiper likes when they do the rankings. But I don't think either one of them really anticipate a center being one of the top 50 players taken in the draft.
When you start talking about, because I'll tell you two teams that we got to remember need centers are Baltimore and Buffalo, where Linderbaum and McGovern are, right? Those are teams that are going to be in the market. Buffalo may make a run at Linderbaum and Baltimore may make a run at McGovern. And the Giants, everybody says that John Harbaugh is going to try and get Linderbaum. You got Vegas needs O-line help. You've got the Chargers specifically need a center. So, I mean, it's going to be tough to get one of the marquee names. But when you talk about budget, the first thing they need to do is restructure contracts and figure out how much money they have. And even if they do that, everybody can do that. Every team can find a way to create some cap space. Some run out of room eventually because you can't keep kicking the can down the road. But I would like to see them make a legitimate effort. And I'll tell you where it becomes, where I think that what really could be the tipping point to make them go get Linderbaum. And it's if Decker retires. Because that frees up, is it $17 million in cap space? And if he retires.
I think it's $11 million it frees up, yeah.
All right, my bad. But that's a lot of money.
With he and Glasgow, it frees up close to 17.
Okay. And then now you need a tackle as well. But a tackle in the draft to play right tackle, which is a big ask of a rookie, but it can be done. And it's a good draft to need a tackle where you're sitting at 17. And then the Linderbaum thing could be more in play, where overall the tackle position might not be as good because you're going to have a rookie replacing Penei Sewell, but you have Penei Sewell replacing Decker at left tackle. But the center position could be a major upgrade. And Glasgow did the best he could. He's more of a guard than a center. But and the Glasgow thing seems like he probably will get cut, but I don't want to cut him if he's the best guard. And that's something we need to keep in mind. So we'll see how it plays itself out. They know better than we do.
Yeah, and it starts with a decision from Taylor Decker, which I would imagine comes in the next week or 10 days.
So that could be the beginning of that. The other thing I wanted to bring up here is I keep talking about this, and it's underrated, but I don't think it gets enough attention from everybody, and that is the Lions need at tight end. Because Brock Wright, as a veteran last year, didn't do much. They can free up some cap space if they let Brock Wright go.
He was hurt.
Yes, he got hurt, but he didn't. Where he is in his career, a cut after June 1st saves $3.5 million in cap space. Drew Petzing likes a lot of one back, three tight end personnel. If he's going to come in and do his thing, they need to be solid there. But I think there's, again, the under the radar moves, maybe not totally under the radar, but Chigo Okonkwo, who was with Tennessee, is a big play tight end that I would love to see paired with a healthy Sam Laporta. And if Sam Laporta isn't ready to go, I think Okonkwo could fill that role right out of the gate. He's not a big ticket item. There are two tight ends that have, actually three tight ends that project over $9.5 million on Spot Track. And that's Kyle Pitts, Travis Kelce, and David Njoku. You get down that next layer of tight ends. Chigo Okonkwo is one. You know who's a tight end who only is projected to make $6 million next year is Dallas Goedert, which surprised me a little bit. But I feel like the third tight end's probably primarily a blocker.
I would think so, yeah. And I would also caution that I'm not sure what's going to happen with Sam Laporta. He's coming off back surgery, and he's going into his fourth and final year of his deal. So are they going to extend him, or are they going to treat this like they did with TJ Hawkinson and move on and trade him? I can't imagine they're going to trade him because there seems to be a really good working relationship with Jared Goff and Sam Laporta. And Sam Laporta working in this offense, and if you've got this new offensive coordinator that loves to use the tight ends, why wouldn't you want to hang on to Laporta? But as far as a second tight end, I don't want to dumb it down, but I just feel like you can find tight ends throughout the draft that can do what you want them to do. You can be specific and just find either a big athletic tackle that you want to be a blocking tight end, or you can find big tight ends that are really just big receivers. The guys are like 6'5" and 230 or 6'5" and 240, something like that, as opposed to finding that unicorn guy that's 6'6" and 250 pounds and runs the 4.6 40.
You brought up a name earlier this week that I watched quite a bit this year. It's Eli Stowers, the tight end from Vanderbilt. Could be a mid-round addition to this team. Wouldn't be shocked to see that. But that is I think a higher priority than the attention we give it is the tight end position. And I think they kind of have to have a guy that'll pair well with Laporta, but might need to start the season being relied on more heavily, as you don't know what's going to happen with Laporta.
Yeah, I could see them drafting a tight end. I don't think they would use one of the first two picks on it. Maybe this is something that happens on day 3 of the draft, that you start hunting for the best tight end you can find there. And I think there'll still be lots of them. But I'd be surprised if they did spend a higher pick on a tight end. I know they've done it. The Lord knows they've done it with the Lions in the past, whether it's first round or second round picks used on a tight end. But I'd be surprised if they did this time around.
Feedback coming in. How can you pay a center when you have Gibbs, Campbell, Laporta, and more to pay? Just draft one. Well, I'll tell you how you can do it, and I'll go back and see if I can find an example here. A lot of these guys, when they sign contract extensions, the cap hit the first year isn't dramatic. Let me see if I can find an example. I'm trying to think of when we were down at doing the draft show at B-Dubs downtown when they started re-signing guys.
Yes.
And you look at that first year cap hit after this. So that was before the 2025 season. Is that correct?
Before the 2024 season.
Was it the 2024 season?
Yeah. Yeah, because 25 was last year.
That's right. So it was Terrion Arnold. Terrion Arnold was a pick, right?
Yes.
Okay, what am I looking at here? Well, anyway, a lot of times when you sign these guys, the first year isn't that bad. And an extension, it gets bad. It gets much worse later. So that's how. It's one way you can do it. Often the case. Next text, Brad Holmes is asleep at the wheel. What is he waiting for with Goff, St. Brown restructures and cutting Decker? That's from an unnamed texter.
Well,
easy.
Like Doug just pointed out, I mean, the last restructures they were given around right around the draft, or the day of the draft, and Goff's was announced a week later, 2 weeks later. So they'll happen when they happen. I'm not worried about that. Why?
I don't know. Free agency starts in 3 weeks, man.
I don't have to be on edge about the. Is he talking about restructures or the re-signing?
He's talking about restructures.
Okay, restructure is different.
Yeah,
that's something that typically happens in early, late February, early March.
Free agency is 3 weeks away.
Yeah, they've got time.
What do you think? Do you think Brad Holmes is off on a cruise or something?
Mahomes just got done a couple days ago, so they'll do something.
I mean, I want to put a pin in this one and revisit it. Ratledge never played center in college. Let's get a legit center instead of cobbling together something that may or may not work. That's fair. And I think it's probably better not to go into next year with Ratledge.
I'd rather go with a proven commodity as being an NFL center and not hope that it's a guy that's on your roster who's a rookie or who just finished his first year. I'd rather go with the veteran.
This person actually signed their text. Todd in Royal Oak. Right, so I really don't care what Taylor Decker's decision is either way. We just got to cut him June 1st and get that $18 million in cap savings. Okay, is it 18 or is it 11? We were just talking about this. It's a lot. I know it's a lot.
For what, Decker?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I think it's 11 in saved money.
Okay.
And that Glasgow was like 5 something in saved money.
248-539-9797. We got some music news to get to, Gator. I think it's right up your alley. That at 11:50. And back to the Pistons in the noon hour. Interesting poll in the NBA from 100 writers that may surprise Detroit a little bit. We'll get to that at 12:05 here on 97.1.